all you have to say is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. But divinity knows that you're actually saying that whole sentence, that you're asking to be cleared and cleansed of all these old programs. Bearing in mind, we all know that we create our own reality. And he also says, if you tried to clear everything that's going on in your reality at one time, you'd shrivel up like a prune. So when you get an inspiration, when you get a good idea come in, just act on it straight away.
How do you balance finding what's going on in the world with actually living your most joyous life?
Well, honestly, it is through oponopono, I believe. Well, also, like, I trained in 2010 as a happiness coach. I mean, I think I'll go back to 1997 when I broke my leg, and I was able to watch Oprah Winfrey every day on the telly while my mum looked after me and the boys, which was amazing. But she introduced me to the people like Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Jerry and Esther Hicks, all these different, you know, and it was just like, obviously, I know that's a name that we don't want to talk about now, but she has done so much good for the world.
I agree.
So yeah.
Can I just say that? I think you've hit on something really important there, because over the last few years, we've had so many people saying, oh, you mustn't like that person anymore because of certain decisions or certain things that they're supporting. But they've also done so much good to so many people.
So much good. Who she, Michael Tellinger. Is it
Yeah.
Michael Tellinger? No, Michael Singer as
Michael
well.
Singer, yes.
Yeah. You know, the amount of wonderful people that I've seen because I've been watching that show. And then it was in 2010, in the January, I was watching an old Oprah Winfrey one with Robert Holden in. And well, I was ironing at the time, but just had it on in the background. And then I thought, oh, this is so interesting. He was so English, and he was in America with her, which was like, amazing. Went and sat down and watched it. And then I come upstairs, got the computer on to see where he's based and what he's doing. And they on my actual birthday of that year was a starting a happiness course for coaching happiness.
Wow.
So it just really, I'd never, because she talked about so much about life purpose and that, and I didn't know what my life purpose was, or I didn't realize that everything you do is actually your life purpose.
Yes.
Just being aware of that, but at the time searching, and but hearing him and talking about happiness, I thought, gosh, that is for me. And I just loved it. I went away in late June for just 1 week, 64 people from all over the world. It was really one of the best experiences of my life. I learned about happiness, laughter yoga there. We went out in Hyde Park every morning doing laughter yoga before we went into doing the happiness. Not that that was part of it. It was just there was happiness, laughter yoga people there. But yeah, it was just the most incredible experience. And then I came back from that just wanting to tell everyone what I'd learned, basically about loving yourself, because it's called a happiness coaching course, coaching happiness, but really it's all about loving yourself. It was really understanding what it means to love yourself.
So I think most people watching know what Ho'oponopono is, but there will be some that don't. So could you just tell us the principles of the story behind it and why this has been so transformational in your life?
Absolutely. So the first thing I heard about it was the story of Dr. Hugh Len. He had a daughter, 13 years old, who had shingles, and he'd been to every doctor and therapist, holistic, and nothing cured this poor girl. But then he went to see Morna Simeona, who was a kahuna in Hawaii. That's just a mouthful. But anyway, she was well known for her Ho'oponopono teachings in Hawaii. And so he took his daughter along to see her. And not saying that Morna cured the girl, but the girl was cured after going to Morna. So he knew there had to be something about Ho'oponopono that obviously worked. So he went along to Morna's workshops. He went along the first time and he just couldn't get it. He had to leave because she was on about spirit. He was a very logical man, scientific, and she was talking about hugging trees and elementals, and it was just way off of what he understood. He went another time again. Before the third time, he just thought he'll stay with it. So on the third time, which was the late 70s, he went along and he stayed with her then, and he actually stayed with her until she transitioned in 1992. So he learned from her from late 70s right the way through to 1992. And in the midst of that, in the middle of the 80s, he was asked to go to a hospital for the criminally insane patients in Hawaii. And at that time, this particular ward had the most awful, well, if we're judging, really bad criminals in there. They were shackled, highly medicated. Staffing was horrendous because no one wanted to be there. The paint wouldn't even stay on the walls. So the whole place was very, very unloved, and they couldn't keep any staff. So he was asked to go there, but he only went on the proviso that he would not have to see the patients. And he'd just come in. The nurses just thought, well, he's a pleasant man, but, nothing really. He'd just say good morning and go in his room. But after about 4 months, the shackles were coming off, the medication was being lowered, the staffing was so much better, the paint was staying on the walls. All these things were improving. So they knew he had to be doing something, even though it didn't appear that he was. And so they asked if he would share with them what he was doing. And so he did. He'd go into his room every morning, take out a file of one of the patients, and read what they'd done, and bearing in mind they'd committed the most heinous of crimes. And he would read through all that, and whatever came up for him in reading what they'd done, if it was anger, if he felt sick, whatever came up for him, he would just say over and over again, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. And he would just say that over and over again until he felt some relief within him. So the whole, I'll just get this. The whole sentence, but you don't need to say the whole sentence, but just so you've got an understanding of what the whole sentence is. I'm sorry for whatever programming is in me that has created this event. Please forgive me for being unconscious to my own thought processes. I love you, which connects you to your higher self. I am returning to source and wiping my inner whiteboard clean. And thank you for releasing this programming from my being. So in that, all you have to say is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. But divinity knows that you're actually saying that whole sentence, that you're asking to be cleared and cleansed of all these old programs, old tapes replaying. So by doing that, he was just making himself feel better. When he is clearing and cleansing that, he's clearing it for his ancestors, he's clearing it for all the people involved, but he's not deciding, even though he's reading that and he's just clearing himself. It's not that he's clearing what that person's done. He's just clearing himself of any feelings that have come up within him. Divinity knows what needs to be cleared. You're not thinking of a particular situation that needs clearing, because only God knows what needs to be cleared from you. And he also says, if you tried to clear everything that's going on in your reality at one time, you'd shrivel up like a prune.
Thing, and Harry, connect me if I'm reading your comment wrong, but I want you to address this bit here, Jackie. Harry's putting a comment, it's all my fault. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. Now, can you talk us through where some people are feeling that, you know, that this prayer is it's all my fault, which isn't my understanding of it?
No, not my understanding either. I am 100% responsible, but that's not through guilt or blame or shame. You are just 100, you just know it's come into your reality, so you are 100% responsible. But fault is seems a heavy guilt thing. So yeah, it's just a rewording. I do understand why you said that, to be
Yeah.
honest. Because that, if you're saying you're 100% responsible, then obviously people would think, well, it is your fault then, you know, because even now things can happen and you think, well, I didn't do that. Well, but of course I did in some way. That's happened. And you're always, the coincidence is, if something's happened and you're in that situation, what's the common denominator? You're there. So in some way,
is it a bit like the question that none of us can ever answer? If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it really fall? To me, it's a similar analogy, because if it we know through quantum physics now that just the observer effect will affect the reality of what we see. So therefore, with all this journey that everyone's been on for, let's talk about the last few years of awakening, but obviously a lot of people have been on that journey for a lot longer. If you're not observing it, is it really happening? And it's a conscious issue. It's a complex issue, isn't it? But I suppose, am I correct in my interpretation, Jackie, that the whole point about this Ho'oponopono prayer is it's like pressing the delete, the erase button on the computer and sort of resetting, because where attention goes, energy flows, and we want to reset.
It is just clearing and cleansing everything from you. And well, I say divinity, it's not actually divinity. So we have the mind. There's three parts in the mind. We have the superconscious, which is our higher self. We have the conscious mind, which is our mental self. And we have the subconscious, which is our inner child. And it's our inner child that runs our whole body, that remembers to breathe without us having to think about anything. Our inner child holds all our memories. So when you're actually saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you and thank you, you are saying it. Mabel Katz would say this. I don't think it's in Joe Vitale's, but that's fine. But what I love about Mabel Katz, she really acknowledges your inner child. So you're saying that to your inner child, loving your inner child, that 7-year-old little girl or boy that feels neglected or lost sometimes. You're actually apologizing to them because they felt neglected or not secure. So you're actually saying it to the inner child, and then the inner child knows, because it does all your breathing, it runs your life for you, knows what you need to let go of. So it lets it go to divinity, to the higher self. The higher self or divinity clears and cleanses, and then you come back as at zero with inspiration. So when you get an inspiration, when you get a good idea come in, just act on it straight away.
One of the things I really love about this, Jackie, is there's a whole thing that's come up for a lot of people. As you go down the different healing modalities, spiritual methods, there's so many out there, and everyone will resonate with different things. But this whole thing about permission, about is it right in any way to heal other people without their permission? So what I love about the Ho'oponopono is you're not doing or projecting any energy to other people. You're clearing your reality, because
yes.
we can't get offended by something that isn't in our reality. It's us that's being offended. It's very complicated to explain these things to people, isn't it?
but it's so simple if you understand it. You
Yeah.
know, that's why I think it's resonated with me so much, the simplicity of it. Because you know, like Dr. Hugh Len, he would just say, right, where's all the bullshit questions? Because everything is of no consequence if you understand that you've just literally got to take the 100% responsibility without feeling any guilt. But just know that if it's in your reality on some level, you have brought this around in your reality, and it's for you to clear and clean on. You don't have to worry about anyone else involved with it. You just, for yourself, just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you and thank you. Not even with intention, you're just saying that over and over again, because that would be one step from being at zero if you were doing it with intention. But just, it's a 24/7 thing. It's like driving. You get in a car, you don't have to think afterwards. You know, we've all said that, but you
Yeah.
don't even have to think about how you drive. So you don't even have to think about it. Literally, you're just saying, and Mabel Katz is even saying that you really only need to say, I love you and thank you. Can you imagine if everybody in the world was saying, I love you and thank you all the time in their mind, what the aura around them with love and gratitude? I love you and thank you. I love you and thank you. If that's going over in your mind instead of what we replay, if there's something going on for us and we're replaying it over and over again, making it worse and worse in our minds. But if we're just saying, I love you and thank you, what could be better than putting that out into the world?